So I'd
Awesome.
like to introduce Reverend Rob Johnson from Des Moines. Rob is running for House District 34, which is the basically the center part of Des Moines, the inner city for the most part. And Rob is running the seat that KO is retiring from. He will not be running for re-election this fall, so Rob is running for it. So with that very short introduction, we want to give the most of the time for you and Patrick, of course, Patrick, to ask questions. So Rob, what we're going to do is give you like 5 minutes, talk about yourself, your campaign, and a couple issues maybe. Then after that, then we'll introduce Patrick, and Patrick will ask you 2 or 3 questions, whatever time permits. But we will be done within 15 minutes, so no later than 6:15 at the latest. So with
Awesome.
that, the Reverend Rob Johnson. The floor is yours, Rob, for 5 minutes.
All right. Well, first of all, my mother always taught me that it is so important to make sure that I thank people for showing up because we are in a position right now where it is becoming more and more difficult to just show up in our spaces. I don't know about you, Pat, about you, Phil, Alexis, or Christy. I don't know about you all or Mitch. But showing up every single day for a lot of people in our community has become extremely difficult, whether it's showing up for their job, showing up for themselves, showing up for their families, showing up in their community, because everything that has been happening and everything that is going on around us. And so I am always inclined to thank people for showing up, especially in moments where we have the opportunity to impact our community in a great way. Not only did my mother teach me about thanking people to show up, but she also taught me to show up myself. That when I see things going wrong, when I see things going awry in my community, if I have the opportunity to do it, she always would tell me, "You, son, make sure that you show up and that you advocate on behalf of yourself, behalf of your community, and behalf of those who may not have an opportunity to show up." And so today I come before you asking for your support as I run for House District 34 to represent that district. For those of you who don't know, House District 34 also encompasses one of the poorest zip codes in the state, which is 50314. And so if you can imagine just for a moment as we walk down this road, that if people like myself and others are struggling every day. Imagine what is happening to the people that are being hit from legislation after legislation after legislation at the Iowa Capitol. Our most vulnerable population of people are being hit the worst. And so my campaign is about people first. We're focused on showing up for our teachers with public school, with making sure that we fund our public schools and getting our teachers the resources. My campaign is about making sure that we fund mental health. I don't know about you all, but I'm the guy who gets phone calls at 2 a.m. and I have to go sit at the bedside of family members who have lost loved ones due to their battle with mental health or mental health issues. I'm the guy who has to go and do their funeral services and give their last rites to their families. I'm that guy. And so for me, I'm running because I also understand what it means and to show up in these spaces, but I'm also running because we should not be telling women what to do with their bodies. We must protect our unions and we have to make sure that we show up for our LGBTQ family because when you discriminate against one, you are discriminating against us all. And I tell people all the time, yes, I am a man of faith and I stand boldly in my faith. And during this campaign, you will hear me say all the time that God is a God of love. And in doing that process, I want to show that we have an opportunity to show love in our community, no matter what's happening, and stand up for our community against what is happening.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. You did that within 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Now we're going to give the floor to Patrick and Rob again, because Rob will be answering a couple questions from Patrick. So Patrick Borchak is chair of our election endorsement committee. So Patrick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, Rob, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So, as you know, you were given a questionnaire to answer. You answered those and returned it to us.
Yes.
There's one question that you did not answer, and that was question 2 of the healthcare section, which asked if you're in favor of repealing the privatization of Medicaid. You answered that because of your current job, you'd prefer to instead address this question during the interview. The video of which, by the way, is going to be made public on the Iowa Unity Coalition website, just so you know.
Absolutely.
So please take some time and answer that question now.
Absolutely. So when it comes to healthcare, I am a firm believer that when you are born, you have the right and the access to healthcare. I firmly believe, especially when you have opportunities to make sure that people are receiving healthcare, that healthcare is done in the right way, we should wholeheartedly be in support of that. And I am in support of that. Another thing that I want to just make sure is in the moment of talking about healthcare, we also have to make sure that we are addressing the inequities that are taking place. Because just because somebody can't quote unquote afford to see the doctor doesn't mean that they shouldn't have the right to see the doctor. Just because someone may not have necessarily health care themselves doesn't mean that they don't deserve the right to go to the doctor and be seen. I have been in spaces, Pat, where I have literally seen people say, "Hey, I don't have any insurance." So they left one hospital and then went to Broadlines. Broadlines would help them take care of it. So, yes, I am in full support of making sure that people have health care and that they are able to take care of it. Man, I struggle because I come from a single mom of 3 who really had to make decisions between, do I take off of work because I need to go to the doctor or because one of my kids are sick? Do I take off of work because I need to make sure that, yes, I pay the bills, or do I get somebody else to take my kid to the doctor, or do I just skip the doctor altogether because it's too expensive to go and I just bring them home and we try to do some home remedies? I come from a family who have struggled. And so understanding that plight of trying to make that financial decision of whether or not you go to the hospital or you don't, that shouldn't even be a question. Why are we allowing people to struggle and die when they could just go to the doctor? We should be allowing people to have the healthcare that they need. And I am in full support of making sure that people have what they need. We cannot keep hitting our most vulnerable population with more and more and more roadblocks.
Thank you very much. So now, question 2 of the education section of the questionnaire asked if public post-secondary education, including trade schools, should be free to students, and what limitations, if any, you would apply. You answered that free post-secondary education would increase access to higher education for all individuals, regardless of socioeconomic background, and reduce the burden of student debt. Also, that freely accessible education would promote social mobility, economic growth, and workplace development. You did not, however, address the limitations part of the question. So now, please tell us, what limitations to free post-secondary education might you propose, if any?
None. I wouldn't propose anything. Here's the thing. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a 2-year-old named Eli. And for those of you who know Eli, he's a cute little kid running around. I'm a little biased when I say cute, so forgive me on that. But he's a cute little kid running around. 18 years from now, Pat and Unity Coalition members, this young man will be faced with a decision on whether or not he will go into a trade, whether or not he will go into a job, or whether or not he will go into college. He will be faced with a decision. And when you lay those opportunities on the table equally, and you allow our young people the chance to make that decision rationally, we don't know which way they'll go. But if they do decide to go off to college, college should be affordable and it should be obtainable. We should not be be withholding folks from going to college just because it is too expensive. We should not be stopping community members from seeking higher education because they can't afford it. Listen, I am running again in the most vulnerable district in the state right now. The 50314 is the poorest zip code in the state right now. And if we were able to give and continue the legacy that Akeo Abdul Samad did, where he told Moulton students that if you stayed in school and you got good grades, the Iowa State promise was coming where they would be able to go to Iowa State for free. And we have students who are currently at Iowa State who have gone through that program because we made college affordable and obtainable for them. We should not continue to put up roadblocks. I don't understand, and I'm sorry, I don't understand why we try to make it more and more difficult for people who want to continue to get better, who want to continue to grow in our community. Why do we make it more difficult for them to do that by putting in roadblocks like student loans and adding more debt to when they come out of college? We have to do better. And I am, help me. I am all for it.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple clarifying points. So 4-year colleges or just 2-year colleges? No, any restriction on if you make this much money, then no, anything like that?
So I think we should make college affordable. We should make college free for people to be able to go in and do what they have to do because it puts everybody on a level playing field. It allows everybody the chance to say, hey, I have a moment to go in here and get this education just like the next guy, just because he could afford it versus I couldn't.
Thank you.
Rob,
Mitch, how are we doing
Patrick,
on time?
well, we have 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes. Okay, thank you, Mitch. Okay, so given that, Rob, why don't you take the last 2 minutes to make your final pitch on why we should endorse you?
So I'm asking for your endorsement because I firmly believe that I am the candidate that has what it takes to go the distance. We are going to continue the fight. This seat was held by a legendary state representative, Akeo Abdul Samad, and he helped pave the way and lay the foundation for how we continue to fight at the State House. I am fully aware of the burden that that takes, and I have been doing this and I have been representing people for a long time. I have been standing up for our community for a long time, advocating for our community for a long time. But now I'm asking people to vote for me. Now I'm asking for people to mark my name on the ballot. And with that, I'm asking for your support in doing that because I firmly believe the number one thing we have to do is turn out the vote. And when we get people excited to go to participate and go out and vote, we have people show up and really have their voices be counted. And I want to do that. I want to go the distance. I want to do the work. And I'm asking for your support.
Thank you, Rob.